Yep, you already know what time it is. I have to figure out what hat I want to wear in this video, because clearly that's the most important part of the video. We could keep the spooky season rocking with the old pumpkin hat. Go with the classic sunflower hat, perchance. A new addition to the hat collection, Monsters University. Damn, that's quite the fit, but it doesn't match anything. Actually, it kind of matches his legs, but it's just the wrong shade of blue. That was professional. But that must be a sign to do the classic white hat, because that was the one I was holding at the time of it falling. Not entirely sure what you were expecting when you clicked on this video, other than a dude trying to figure out what hat he wants to wear, but that's my channel. Pretend that didn't fall. Hey, what up? I'm Miles and welcome back. The month of October has officially ended. It is now November, and as you all were aware, and if you weren't aware, then now you will be, October was a month where I was exclusively only posting about my new secret cosplay, The Ghost. The fan film dropped on October 1st, and we released 2 other full-length videos breaking down both the cosplay and the behind the scenes, as well as a bunch of different shorts and reels and TikToks on basically all of my platforms. I pretty much dedicated the whole month of October to that one cosplay. But that's not what this video is about at all. In January, I released a video going over all of the cosplays I would be doing for this year. In the video, I said we would do the Symbiote PS5 Spider-Man. That's done. I said we would finish our Biker Scout Trooper, which that is also done. We wore that at C2E2 this year. I mentioned the secret cosplay, which of course in October was revealed and is now done. And there were 2 more that I mentioned that now I have to figure out how to finish before the end of the year. The first of which being Kylo Ren, which is nowhere near completion whatsoever, and I'm just procrastinating on that. So I got 3 different silver paints to paint, obviously, the silver on the helmet kit that I got. However, the vendors did not tell me what kind of paint they used, or the brand, or the finish of it. So I basically have to figure it out without any test pieces, and I only really get 1 shot. So I tripped up on that for a couple hours, but I realized that I did not want to waste a whole day freaking out about that. So I thought I would work on the other cosplay I had planned for the end of the year in a very, very simple DIY video and show you all how to do it. That cosplay being the Miles Morales Cat Bodega suit. Now in this video, we're going to be keeping it very, very simple. We are going to simply be making his hoodie that he wears when rocking this suit. And the more you look at it, the more you realize it's literally just a red hoodie with a spider emblem painted on it. So that's what we're doing today. Alright, this is future Miles talking. Everything that I tried for the first hoodie did not work. So, like I said, for this video, it's going to be incredibly simple. DIY, you could do it at home if you want to yourself. Looking at the design, it's incredibly simple. It is a red hoodie with a distressed spider painted on the front. Now, in terms of the red hoodie, I got 2 different red hoodies. I got one of a deeper wine red and one of a bit of a brighter red. The reason I got the 2 hoodies is for one reason only. I ordered them last night at the last second, and I didn't know which one would get here in time for filming this video, and they both showed up at the same time. So that's a W Miles moment, is I didn't plan anything and now I have too much to do. But it's gonna end up working in my favor because now I have a test hoodie if I don't like the first one. Pretty much all of the methods that I tried to do to apply the spider weren't really working the way I wanted them to, and I didn't really like them. As I mentioned before, I have 2 different hoodies that I can test this on. The original hoodie that I wanted to order was this one. It was the deeper wine cardinal red. So we are going to put this off to the side and use this as our test hoodie. So we're going to be using this hoodie to make it work. And I already got it dirty. That's great. So as I mentioned before, the actual design of it is going to be incredibly simple. We're simply just going to take a black Prismacolor pencil, draw on the design, and then paint it on. But before I do that, I want to test my different paint options on the inside of the hoodie. The 3 different paint options I'll be doing is just a standard acrylic paint with a brush, a fabric paint with a brush, and then an airbrush paint applied, of course, with an airbrush. Okay, so bit of a change of plans actually. Initially, like I said, I was going to use the airbrush paint because I wanted that fadey effect, but both of the paints I tested do have the ability to fade the paint out, and I think it looks much more natural doing it that way versus trying to replicate it with an airbrush. Also, if I tried to do it with an airbrush, I would have to make a stencil, and making a stencil trying to attach it onto a fabric is a pain in the ass. I've tried it before, and it always bleeds. So I think I'm actually just going to paint this by hand, old school style. Everything that I tried for the first hoodie
did not work.
The highest point is the butt of the spider, which ends up about here, and the lowest point being the arms, which almost go all the way down to the pocket area. But if I'm going down to the face of the spider, it will be somewhere around here. I actually think I'm going to draw it with a pencil first, so I can actually erase the lines and then go back over it with the colored pencil. Now, I know my commentary of an incredibly simple thing is getting annoying, so we're just going to cut to an epic montage. So, there. Okay, so here's kind of where we're at the moment. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love it. I'm gonna try it on with the mask and see if I like it. I replicated the design best I could, and I tried like to purposely get it dirty in the same spots that it was. But again, kind of like what I was talking about, when you try to replicate natural wear and tear, it looks really weird. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I think I'm glad I used this hoodie as a test because maybe the other hoodie will work. But let's try them on and see. Alright, so let's take a hold off for a second. Let's think. The design itself, the paint job itself isn't the worst thing in the world, but I think that I'm actually going to go with the other hoodie. So let me throw that one on and see if I like the color scheme a little better, because right now this looks way too saturated. If I put that hoodie on and I like how it looks, I'm going to try to paint it a second time. Alright, so good news and slightly bad news. The good news is I'm glad I used this one as my test hoodie for painting, because this is way too saturated of a red and I don't like it. This is the red that I'm going to be using. This is the hoodie I'm going to end up using because I think it looks way better and it matches the vibe a little bit nicer. However, the bad news, which is technically just secretly disguised good news, I gotta paint it again. But I'm gonna do it a bit of a different way, because even though this works, I'm personally not happy with it and I think I can do better. So, we got a story. Everything that I tried for the first hoodie did not work. Not only was the hoodie color not really to my liking, but pretty much all of the methods that I tried to do to apply the spider weren't really working the way I wanted them to, and I didn't really like them. So I went back to step one on the backup hoodie and tried it a little bit differently, and definitely took a lot more time to get it a little bit nicer. And it's not perfect, but I think compared to the first one, this is a suitable piece for the actual suit. Definitely still an at-home DIY, but I took a lot more time to do this one, and I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I did to actually fix it. So depending on how I edit this video, you either saw how I did the first hoodie and it tragically failed, or I'll explain it here where I basically just tried to use fabric paint and freehand it directly onto the hoodie and then line it with an alcohol-based marker, which of course are two different types of materials on a fabric, so they came up two different kinds of ways and it did not look very good. On top of that, I didn't freehand the symbol that well. It was very asymmetrical and didn't even look like it was artistically asymmetrical. It just looked bad. And of course, the biggest offender being the actual color of the hoodie was way too bright. So we attacked the backup hoodie with a different plan, all in all. I first started off by taping the hoodie a lot tighter to the actual cardboard so it moved around a lot less. Then I properly measured where the middle line of the hoodie actually was versus just eyeballing it again. I then took a very different approach with the actual symbol itself. I took a piece of cheap newsprint and laid it over the hoodie, marking where the half line was that we measured before. That's when I freehanded the spider based on the design, and given that I was working on paper, I had a lot more flexibility to actually sketch it and refine the shape I wanted. Then after that, I cut the paper out and transferred the exact same shape onto a stiffer piece of cardboard. I carefully cut that cardboard out, and even though it wasn't perfect, I knew that it wasn't going to be. This was simply just to give me my guiding lines to make sure my spider was equal on both sides. I took that and traced it over onto one side. I flipped it and moved it about ½ an inch to the other side, traced it over, so now I had a symmetrical spider that was accurate in every way. Both of the legs were accurate, the body was accurate, and everything lined up to what it was supposed to. After that, I did a little bit more freehanding around the spider to kind of refine the shape how I wanted, now that it was accurate on the hoodie based on the size and the placement of the center of the hoodie. Then after that came the very long and tedious process of taking painter's masking tape and taping off everything that was not supposed to get painted. Taping off the intricate details of the spider, making sure that the tape covered everything that was not supposed to get painted. This took the longest amount of time getting around all of the legs, and the fact that I had to cut little strips and little triangles out of the painter's tape to make sure that all of the little details were properly taped over and the tape didn't go over into the design. Once the design of the spider was finally masked out, I taped off the rest of the hoodie, and then I went into the thing that I said I was not going to use, and I'll take the L on this one. I will take a humble Miles L on this one. In the beginning of this video, I took pride in the fact that I was going to try to do this in the cheapest DIY method possible, just using fabric paint, and I completely failed at it. Does that mean it's not possible? Absolutely not. Somebody out there much more talented than myself could probably do it. And if I had any experience with fabric paint before this, I could probably do it again on a better hoodie. But I failed on the first one, and I really only had 2 hoodies, and I did not want to purchase another one. So I went to a method that I knew and was comfortable with. I used my airbrush. Applying the airbrush paint onto the hoodie was absolutely the right way to do it, given the fact that it absorbed much better into the fabric versus the actual fabric paint, which was a lot more stiff and felt like it was a sticker versus part of the hoodie. You can't even feel the paint on this hoodie, versus the fabric paint you can very clearly feel is a texture. I carefully went over the entire decal with my airbrush, painting on the entire spider in 2 separate coats. Then I gave it time to properly dry and had the absolute satisfaction of being able to take the tape off and seeing how sharp those lines actually were. That was a super satisfying moment. After I took all the tape off, then I hand painted on the same airbrush paint to fill in some of the gaps where I wasn't super accurate with the tape. This is where the fun part happened, and I was able to do all of the imperfections by hand again. I took the same airbrush paint that I used and hand painted on a lot of the imperfections. I also went back using the physical airbrush to get a lot of the drip marks that are on some of the parts of the hoodie. I also took that same cardboard template, put it back over the design, and airbrushed around it to give the spider a bit more of a faded effect behind it to blend it into the hoodie a little bit more. I also took the airbrush, which still had some black paint in it, and lightly faded away some of the parts of the hoodie, like the pocket and the neck, to give it a little bit more depth and to match the outline of the spider. Lastly, I used a combination of sandpaper and some dark red paint to distress the actual spider to blend it a little bit more into the hoodie, so it didn't just look like a stark sticker put on it, it looked a little bit more worn and torn. And here we have the actual hoodie in the way it was supposed to be done the first time. I will be the first to admit, yeah, the first hoodie was a failure, and I definitely did not take my time on it. I could definitely feel when I was doing it that I was rushing it, that I just wanted it to be done, and I just wanted to make the video, and that's not the way you should do things. Now again, is it perfect? No, but this is definitely more of a lesson of telling you to slow down and think about the way that you're going to do stuff, and to do it in a little bit more of a careful way versus just haphazardly rushing through it just to get it done. Now, on the bright side, I am glad that I used the hoodie that I didn't like as my test, because if I used this one as the test, that would have sucked, because this is the color of the hoodie that actually ended up winning. Anyway, I definitely would not brand this video as a how-to, because like I said, I messed up on the first one, but when I tried again, I thought about it, rebounded, and came back from it. So this is just gonna be a fun video to watch. You can watch me fail and then watch me actually do it. I'm gonna include both segments because I think it's only fair that you watch how miserably I failed the first one. Anyway, like I said, this is for the Bodega Miles Morales suit that hopefully we'll be able to shoot in December. And another piece for that, I actually just ordered today. I contacted my guy Matthew DC on Instagram and ordered up a PS5 Miles Morales face shell, because I decided I'm not gonna get a Miles Morales suit for it, given that most of the suit is covered, and I can just wear my Into the Spider-Verse suit, and it can kind of pass off as the PS5 Miles. Now, even though I do have the credits on Print Custom and I could have ordered a free suit, I didn't want to spend the credits on myself. I'm spending the credits on other people when I'm giving suits away. Speaking of which, that was an amazing segue to tell you about 2 separate giveaways that are going on right now. The first giveaway is a 100,000 subscribers special on my boy Lboy Carson's channel. If you haven't seen that, make sure to check it out. He's giving away a bunch of stuff in his raffle for hitting 100K. One of those prizes being a Spider-Man suit that I am providing and donating to his channel. Link is down below for that video. Make sure you go check that out to enter to get a chance to win that Spider-Man suit, as well as all of the other cool prizes. The second chance is on my Instagram. I just hit 20K on Instagram, and on Monday of this week, I will be posting the 20K giveaway video. Make sure to enter there for another chance to win a Spider-Man suit for you. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and love, do good things, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Wrong side.
Spider-Man!